Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
The Craft legacy tells the story of 4 teenage witches with newfound powers.
It happens to everyone. He's made us all cry at one point or another.
One of them, 20-year-old Downey native Zoe Luna.
This is insanity. This is not real.
But her journey doesn't start there.
After I transitioned, I had a lot of problems with the school board. They would always give me a hard time.
In 2014, she was one of the subjects for Laverne Cox's documentary, The T Word. It followed the lives of transgender youths, each facing their own forms of discrimination.
They said, stay away from her. She's a really bad kid. She's like the Antichrist.
At 13, she became a transgender activist. At the time, she was beginning her transition and says she was faced with discrimination from not only her peers, but from her school district.
They told me that they were gonna expel me if I transitioned publicly because they just felt that it was inappropriate. They felt like there wasn't a winning chance for me to transition in front of all the people that had already known me prior.
With help from the ACLU, Zoe and her family fought back and filed a complaint with the United States Department of Education.
The case that we had filed would have been implemented for however many years, except when Trump became president. His policies basically diminished everything that I had worked to file in place to ensure that every kid that was going to go to that school would not have to face the discrimination.
We need to keep our children safe. We need to stand as a community.
Zoe's activism continued. That led to her own documentary, Raising Zoe. She was even highlighted in this documentary, 15, a quinceañera.
These women didn't get to celebrate their quinceañera.
All of them are transgender. That's kind of my theme.
From there, the acting roles came. The Craft, Pose, and Dear Evan Hansen.
Almost everything I dreamed of. I mean, definitely have been met with a lot of acceptance, a lot of respect.
A recent study by GLAAD found nearly 12% of LGBT characters on TV have repeating roles. And while there is increased racial diversity among LGBT characters in film, advocates say more work needs to be done. In fact, of the leading film studios, there were no transgender or non-binary characters for the 4th year in a row. Zoe was fortunate. She didn't face many obstacles in her progression as an actress, but for others, it's far from easy.
I am gay.
I am a lesbian.
I am bisexual.
These are all actors signed to PKA, the Peter Kalanteris Agency. Just last year, they were the first talent agency to launch a queer division.
I wanted to create a home, a safe place where LGBTQ talent could thrive and understand that it is okay to be who you are, because I'm gay too.
It sounds easy enough, just be you, but Kalanteris says for his generation, things were different.
When I was a young actor in the 90s, it was frowned upon, and now it's celebrated. I think there's a revolution going on right now, just an understanding that we're all connected.
A revolution that is becoming mainstream. In fact, Universal Pictures just released the trailer for Bros.
Hi everyone, it's Bobby Lieber, and welcome to your favorite podcast where I talk about whatever I feel like talking about.
It's the first gay rom-com from a major studio, and it features an entirely LGBTQ principal cast. Other productions making headlines, the reboot of Queer as Folk and Fire Island.
Finally, my girls have arrived!
And that is our makeshift little family.
The movie follows a group of queer friends as they gather in the Fire Island Pines.
A modern-day rom-com set on Fire Island, a gay vacation destination outside of New York City, and it's a adaptation of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice.
Andrew Ahn is the director. He says being a queer artist hasn't been easy.
I have had people tell me like, oh, like you need to cast a straight actor in that queer role because you're gonna, be able to bring in a bigger audience or, get a bigger budget. And those things are really disheartening, and they make it really difficult to see how we can make work in a way that feels authentic to who we are.
The film was written by Joel Kim Booster. He also starred in the film, an Asian character at the center of the gay rom-com.
I think that the film is an indictment of how sometimes the queer community, which is fighting for inclusivity in the greater society, can actually be really uninclusive within itself, that racism and classism still exist, you know, within the queer community.
Challenges On hopes the queer community overcomes.
If we can do that, what else can we do?
Challenges that actors like Zoe are willing to take on.
As a trans person that is still alive, I am a walking, you know, billboard saying, hey, we're here, we're taking up space, and the more that I continue to live authentically and bravely is kind of a mission statement.
Chris Holmstrom, KCAL 9 News.